I have photographic proof that some celebrities suck and some celebrities are awesome. This is Celebrity Encounters, and these are my photos and my stories of the good, the bad, and the unpredictable of Hollywood. Some of the good: Jack Nicholson, Jessica Simpson, George Clooney. Some of the bad: Leo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Cameron Diaz. The unpredictable: Avril Lavigne, Lindsay Lohan, and Keanu Reeves. Hey guys, this episode's all about Bruce Willis. I know what you're thinking. Bruce Willis must be cool. He was in Die Hard, Pulp Fiction, Armageddon. He's got to be one of the coolest guys in Hollywood, right? Wrong. Bruce sucks. And that's hard for me to say. As a kid growing up, I loved Bruce Willis. But now, as an adult and a former paparazzi, that love has died. This is a good example of why you never want to meet your idols. They will almost always let you down, like Bruce did for me. Let's take a look at why Bruce Willis is an a-hole. Yippee-ki-yay! Before I moved to Hollywood, Bruce Willis was one of my favorite actors. I grew up watching him on the TV show Moonlighting and loved him in the first Die Hard. I thought he was one of the coolest guys in Hollywood. Check out that full head of hair on Bruce during the filming of Moonlighting. Moonlighting and Die Hard were filmed in the late 80s. Bruce was in his early 30s, and I was an awkward teen who wanted to be like Bruce Willis. Unfortunately, once I encountered Bruce in real life, I soon began to dislike him. The first few times I saw him, he actually smiled as I took his picture, or at least ignored me as I took his picture. His semi-nice attitude didn't last long. There were 4 events where Bruce proved to be an a-hole. Let's take a look at a few nights where Bruce was somewhat pleasant to me first. Here's the first picture I took of Bruce after moving to Hollywood. This is at Nick Cage's Christmas house party. He walks out with girlfriend at the time, Brooke Burns, both with big smiles. The two only dated for about 9 months total, and this was one of their first dates after only dating for a couple months. I assume Bruce was trying to impress Brooke and didn't want to be rude to me in front of her on one of their first dates together. Or possibly that Brooke was just a good influence on Bruce, as she was always super nice to me. Here's Brooke with a smile and a wave outside Mood nightclub a couple years after dumping Bruce. You guys might know her from Baywatch and hosting game shows on the Game Show Network like Mastermind and Dog Eat Dog. Here's Bruce again at the Spider Club, wearing a hat with his passenger side window rolled down. He asked me and some other paparazzis a question and had no problem getting his picture taken. This is one of the few cool pictures I have of Bruce. The next time I saw Bruce was at Dolce Restaurant in 2004, where he met up with Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, his ex-wife. I think it was for one of their kids' birthday parties. I gotta give Bruce credit for co-parenting with ex-wife Demi so well. They seemed to all get along, and Bruce didn't seem to have any problem with Ashton and Demi's relationship. Here's Bruce leaving the restaurant, giving me no attitude about having his picture taken. Here's one more night where Bruce was cordial to me. This is outside Prey nightclub. He walks by me, ignoring me, which is totally fine. Way better than being rude to me. But check out that awesome phone. Remember, this is 2004, and flip phones were the big thing. Here's my phone from back then. I think my phone only made calls, maybe texts, but I didn't know how to work the text, I don't think. The smartphones as we know them today were a few years from being invented. But I assure you, Bruce had the best flip phone money could buy. That's it for the semi-nice Bruce. Let's talk about Bruce the a-hole now. The first incident was outside the Spider Club in 2004. As Bruce was leaving the club, he started throwing his bottled water on a couple paparazzi. At first, I thought he was joking and trying to have some fun with the paparazzi, but later it became obvious he was irritated by the paparazzi. He hurled the water at them like it was a carnival game. After throwing the water at the paps, he gave a fake apology. In this picture, he is explaining that it was an accident and how he didn't mean to throw the water. It's pretty hard to accidentally throw water out of a bottle, Bruce, so we know you're full of crap. The next time was at Koi Restaurant, when he smacked a paparazzi in the face as he walked into the restaurant. The pap claimed Bruce smacked his camera into his face, giving him a cut on his nose and a chipped tooth. This is a picture of Bruce smacking the paparazzi. You can see the paparazzi's back there in the white shirt, and Bruce's hand is in his face and his camera. And here's a picture of the paparazzi. After Bruce hit the paparazzi, he again claimed it was an accident and gave a fake apology. The paparazzi filed a police report, and then Bruce filed a $1 million defamation suit against the paparazzi. Let's think about this for a minute. Bruce slaps the paparazzi, and then he sues him for $1 million? What a dick move. The Pap then refused to prosecute, and as far as I know, Bruce's lawsuit went nowhere. This wasn't the first or last time I saw Bruce push his way through the paparazzi. While he never put his hands on me, I know he is capable of a good nudge, shoulder block, or hard push. He'll start walking at a slow pace and then speeds up so he can get a hip check in on a paparazzi. Then he claims it was an accident and the Pap was in his way. He's like the bully in school who knocks the books out of a kid's hands and then says, "Watch where you're going, dork." While being pushed is part of a paparazzi's job, Bruce has gone from being understandably annoyed to a giant jerk. The third incident was at a Santa Monica restaurant in 2008. I was by myself with no other paparazzi around. Bruce becomes even more aggressive when there's only one paparazzi, and I, unfortunately, was the only paparazzi. When he came out of the restaurant with his girlfriend, he pretended to smile for the camera while saying something like, "I'd love to get my hands on you." In this pic, that's what he's saying. As he opened the car door for his girlfriend, he continued to threaten me with a fake smile on his face. Then, once she was in the car, Bruce lunged at me like he was going to attack. I'm a little ashamed to admit it. I ran. I mean, this was John frickin' McClane from Die Hard here. He chased me for a few steps and then headed to his SUV. This pic is right before he came after me. I'm a lover, not a fighter, and I never want to get in a conflict with a celebrity, especially with no witnesses or other cameras around. The courts and the public usually take the side of the celebrity when it's a star against a paparazzi. By the way, Bruce married Emma Hemming, the girl in the photo, about a year after this picture was taken, and the two are still together, amazingly. They have 2 kids together, which makes 5 total kids for Bruce, 3 with Demi and 2 with Emma. Oh, I almost forgot about this picture here. This is Bruce Willis refusing to sign an autograph, and during all my time in Hollywood, I never once saw Bruce sign an autograph, which is a pretty good barometer to find out if you're an a-hole or not. The final incident was at Katsuya Restaurant in 2009. As Bruce was walking to the restaurant, I took a few shots of Bruce and his daughter. When Bruce got close to me, he said, "Don't take a picture of me or my daughter." He didn't ask, he demanded I not take his picture. And I didn't take the picture. For a minute, I turned back into that awkward teen that idolized Bruce back in the 80s. I didn't want to upset my idol. While Bruce was in the restaurant eating, I decided I was going to take at least one more picture, not caring about hurting Bruce's feelings. Here's the picture I took. Not very exciting, but he looks annoyed, but he didn't say anything else to me after that. I believe Bruce is a control freak and can't stand not having control. He has enough money and power to control everything in his life, but one thing Bruce can't control is the paparazzi, and it drives him nuts, which is one of the many reasons why Bruce Willis is an a-hole. Alright, that's it for Bruce Willis. Next time we're going to talk about Brittany Murphy. We're going from one of the biggest a-holes in Hollywood, Bruce Willis, to one of the sweetest girls I ever encountered in Hollywood, Brittany Murphy, and sadly, she's no longer with us. So it's going to be a really interesting episode. Thanks for watching.